blessed with a championship prosperity the likes of which we have never seen, cursed by a past riddled with despair. This is Blursed.
But back in the saddle here at Blurst, it's your boy H joined by Bleezy and Aaron. It's Chewsday again, and we're back.
In it.
In
back.
it.
Yes. I was on vacation last week, and we just had scheduling conflicts. We're sorry, guys. And then I got sick on vacation, so yeah, I get back from work. It's always the best thing to get back to
Herpes.
work.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. I got him.
Yeah.
Just how you catch those
Look,
wild
vacation herpes. Yeah.
I got back to work
herp.
and they were asking me how vacation was, and I told them, well, I got sick and this and this, and then you start getting pity because your vacation was away. I was like, no, I'm still happy I was away. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
Like,
it's so much better than being here with all of you.
Well,
I do love my coworkers.
Then you get to use sick days as opposed to vacation days.
Ours is all done the same thing.
Oh,
it's terrible.
You work for the government. I forgot about
work for the man. Yeah, it's like the one downside. I will say that.
Well, hey, if it makes you feel any better, in our industry, we don't have sick days at all. No sick
You just
days.
hope someone can cover your shift.
Because you're essential, Aaron.
It's not a thing. That's right.
The most important of us.
Sick.
Most important. Yeah, essential.
More important than what I do. I know that.
But yeah, so I don't know about you guys, but I've spent the past week reeling from all these defeats the Atlanta teams have suffered across all sports.
I actually enjoyed a week off of watching Atlanta sports. I felt like I needed it. Like, don't get me wrong, I caught up on everything. I did all my,
if there was
my
a
due
week
diligence.
to not watch,
but it was a good week to miss. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I haven't watched and I haven't done my due diligence, so this is going to be interesting. If
You're
anybody
here for the
actually
good looks.
watches that listens,
well, it might be a short episode then. Who knows?
Could be.
Could
be.
All right. See you next week, guys.
All right.
I do have background acting and improv, so that's what I'm going to be building on this week.
Perfect.
Hell yeah.
Perfect.
Speaking of like
a little
sport,
yes and
not sport. Speaking of not sports, video games, the new Zelda game dropped.
Oh yeah.
What's it called? The Tears of the King or
Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah. I just want you to know, like, TikTok's been full of videos from that game, and it looks like so much fun.
I'm going to get it. I'm gonna get it as soon as I have like a bit of time that I can delve into the game.
Dive right
I'm gonna
in
get it, man, because it looks so fun. I mean, it's the sequel to Breath of the Wild, obviously,
which was great.
Breath was so good, and it looks, from everything I've seen, like they didn't regress at all, and they only improved.
Yeah, they stuck with the stuff that worked for them, and then they went to that next level. So
it also benefits the game that Hogwarts Legacy was delayed on the Switch until November. Now it was supposed to come out like a month. Yeah, so that's a bummer for anybody.
I did get the notification on PlayStation that's available there now.
Nice,
like a week or so ago.
It's crazy.
I'll be honest with you though, the delay kind of hurt me as someone who has a PS4 and not a 5. When it came out on the 5, I was like, I saw everybody playing it. My roommate Andy, he played it, and I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get this. And then everyone stopped talking about it, and now that it's out, I'm not gonna get it. I'll be honest with you.
It's one of those. Here's the thing. The sad part is, like, it's a really great game. I'm sure you heard that from everybody. But for me, if you miss that initial punch, you might as well wait for it to go on sale. Like at that point, because
that's what I'm gonna do probably if I do play it.
Like I just think another game came out, Far Cry 6, which I don't know if you like the Far Cry series.
Oh, I'm a huge fan of the Far Cry series.
I think they're right there with like the Breath of the Wild in the sense, not in quality of game, but just like staying true to their game, but just upgrading certain stuff. It drops.
They know what works in the Far Cry series.
Exactly. It dropped 3 days ago, and on Steam it was on sale for $15 right out of the gates. So I bought it for $15. It may still be on sale. It's a co-op.
I need to go look.
It's up to 2 players can play it, but
that's huge.
Yeah,
I love the Far Cry series. Plus, isn't this one the one that has Giancarlo Esposito as the villain?
Dude, I'll be honest, it's I've only played a little bit so far. It's been great so far. So I'm excited.
I'll say, as a grown man, nearly 30 years old, the technique of buying video games is much different. So I'm not always buying the new game, almost never. Like Hogwarts Legacy was the exception. I'm always like getting free games on PS5 or Plus or whatever it is.
Plus,
anything that's like maybe on sale for like $5 on Steam. Like I just got Red Dead Redemption 2. I haven't even started playing it yet, but I just know it's a popular game and everybody loves it.
You're gonna love it.
It's like 5 years old now, but it's still gonna be good. And I got it for like $5.
You can't beat that.
Speaking of that point, since the first like new game I've bought in a long time was, I know I told y'all off the pod the other day that I bought the new show, MLB 23, the show.
That's right. Yeah.
And I'm loving it. First off, I mean, the show's a fantastic game. It always has been. But one thing that I think is very interesting, and Hayden, I'd like your take on this, but both of you, of course, but I know Hayden and Blake differ on this, I think, is that Mike Soroka in the game is, of course, not injured. So he's in my starting rotation. He's in 85 overall still.
Wow.
If that, and that surprised me.
I don't think they know.
In the 70s.
They don't know what to do with him.
They don't
for the game, because like the last time he pitched, he was an ace still. That was like 3 years ago. So it's like they don't know what to do with him for the game.
That's a good point.
The Braves don't even know what to do with him.
Yeah, like in real life, yes.
Does,
yeah. So hey, good for the show keeping him.
He's a nice number 4 in the rotation.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
it's a stacked rotation that we have that's been
is
a bit depleted in real life, unfortunately. What kind of game modes have you been playing in the show?
Yeah, what do you like?
So normally back in the day, I never played franchise. I never played anything other than the actual road to the show, right? Where you get your guy and you bring him up.
You play that one guy. Yeah.
And you play that one guy. I actually haven't done that at all. I started it off. I played a few just play now games to get the feel of it. And then, I just went and did a franchise with the Braves. I was like, fuck it, man.
Let's go win some rings, baby.
And it's actually cool, though, because the last time I played the show, this wasn't here. You can either decide to do the franchise and just have complete control of everything, or you can decide to be the GM.
And just do the...
Yeah, and the cool thing is you create your GM similar to how you would create your road to the show guy. So you can start with this team, and you have objectives, and you can fail or succeed. And you can get job offers to go be the GM at other teams.
Oh,
yeah. So I think once I'm done with this Braves one, I'm gonna go start at a bad team
and try to
see if I can work my way up.
Go to the Rockies.
That's cool.
Yeah, the Rockies.
Yeah,
they need some help.
They do. They have some good players. It's like baseball. Man. You can have 2 or 3 good players, and then the rest of the teams. Yeah.
Or the A's would be a good one too. You could relocate them.
The A's got some good young talent too. Rooker.
They always do.
They are a farm. They're a farm team.
Braves farm. The Oakland. That's so sad.
The AAA A's.
There was actually if we're gonna keep going
the quadruple A's. Actually,
the quadruple A's.
There you go.
Oh my God.
I think that's great.
That's great.
All right. Anyway,
more video game sports related. Madden leaks today. They there's like this MUT leaks on Twitter that every time they leak something is pretty accurate. They're actually going to do cross-platform in the new Madden, so you can play PlayStation to Xbox and all that stuff. So
PC, PlayStation, all 3.
So I think they're Xbox, whatever the last Xbox was before the newest one, and the PlayStation 4 can play together, and then all the new consoles, PC, Xbox, whatever, and PlayStation 5 can all play together. I think that's the way I heard it.
Look, I get it. You got to make people want to buy the new console.
Yeah.
So
at least they're keeping making games. I remember when the PlayStation 4 came out, they just like, we're done with PlayStation.
Oh, they were like, yeah,
we're done.
PlayStation 3. Yeah.
Is it this year that the new NCAA game starts? The NCAA football?
I'm not sure on that one.
I think it's the next.
Madden.
I think we still got one more.
They have to be dreading that because that's going to cut their sales.
It's going to kill them.
I guess it's probably like they're probably part of the same team that produces the game. But yeah. I don't. Everybody's just going to buy NCAA that year for sure.
They talk about it every year, like, oh, this will be the year we get Madden back to where it should be again. We'll see what happens, but if they don't, like you just said, they're going to lose a player base. I really enjoyed. Sorry.
I was just going to say I've already stopped buying Madden. I think this is the 3rd year in a row I have, or maybe 4th. I haven't bought Madden, and I'm going to buy the shit out of that new college football game.
Oh, for sure.
And not the Madden. I won't buy a Madden until it's proven to me through other players, not what they say.
Yeah.
That it's good again. But otherwise, it's just crap.
Well, all these sports games invest in like the ultimate team, and
they make the most money on that.
I've tried to get into that. Like even this past weekend, I was trying to get into that on the show, and I just can't. Like I don't know.
It sucks.
It's not.
It's pretty pay to win. Like that's what bothers me is like the kids who can take their mom's credit card and just spend money. Or
I had a guy. I don't know if I've told y'all this. The last, or I guess 2 stores ago that I was at, a dude that was one of my employees in my department. He was this young guy, early 20s, still lived at home with mom and dad. One of those Alpharetta rich kids is what he was. And he had told me the game, I believe the game comes out always in September. And we were in January. Okay. And he told me, so the game had only been out for like 3 or 4 months.
Right.
He told me that at that point he had already spent an additional, like on top of getting, he got the like ultimate
deluxe edition. It's like $120.
$120 game. He got the $120 deluxe edition game. And he said on top of that, he'd already spent an additional $600 on FIFA Ultimate Team.
It's because of him that we have shitty video games
and
now.
I really liked the kid. He was a great worker for me, but I was like, I'll be honest with you, man, you are the problem.
Yeah, you're the problem.
You're the reason why this happens, and I hate that.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't like it for me because 1, what Blake said, it's play to win. But 2, I play those games for immersion. Almost every game I play for immersion. I can't immerse myself in something that doesn't happen in real life. You can't open packs and they become players on a fictional team in a fictional league. I need to be, a manager of a real team in a real league with real players. I need to pretend like that's
I enjoy that aspect of it.
I have the boomer generation of video games of gamers now. Yeah.
If you EA Pass, I think it's like $5 a month. You can actually cop the Madden off that. You can just play it in FIFA. Like you have to get it
the prior year.
The prior year, exactly. I think Madden's out now, like at this point. So like if you're trying to play it this summer,
discount though. If you have that, I think you still get a discount on the new one.
It's like 10% discount on the new one.
Yeah. But still though, like we were talking about, not worth the price though. Still,
nope.
Or at least for Madden.
No, it's not.
I wouldn't argue with that.
Does not help there. Yeah. Well, anyway.
Video games aside and sports games aside, where do you want to start today?
We should do a Blursed of the week. We haven't been here in a couple weeks.
That's true.
Can we think of them in 5 to 10 seconds?
Yeah, I think we can do that.
Okay.
Blursed of the week.
Leezy up first.
Yeah, I got mine. Yes, sir. So if you haven't heard already, we're breaking the news to you. Dylan Raiola, is that how you say it?
Yes.
Raiola. He committed.
Yeah, I believe it's Raiola.
He committed to UGA today. This is the #1 recruit of the 2024 class. The blurst part about this, though, is I actually feel bad for him. Dan Orlowski, is that how you say his name?
Orlovsky,
the old lifetime backup quarterback, is now
he started for the Lions that went 0-16.
Okay, so that guy.
He's infamous for running out of the back of the end zone.
Was that like his first game or something like that too?
No.
Oh,
he
it's
was
even worse.
A seasoned starter in the NFL. I think,
so my blurst for this is that
not starter, but
he kind of leaked this last night before Dylan even got to say anything, which I thought was wrong. Like I'm not. It's maybe not the biggest deal, and maybe Dylan doesn't care, but for a kid who had committed to Ohio State and then decommitted in December and wanted to like take his time and like really think about his options, I thought it was weird he did that, unless he told Dan like, hey, would you like kind of send out a cryptic tweet, or I don't know. Just thought that was a little blurred because I don't know, maybe the kid wanted to have that moment to commit.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know how y'all feel about that. I'm not saying it's bad or good.
It's the nature of the beast.
So Dom,
but he's friends with the dad though. Like there's a relationship there.
Dom Raiola was the center for the Lions back then, and so they, the quarterback center relationship is close, and it's clear. So clearly they've remained friends all these years. So I don't know. It's very obviously a family. Dan is clearly a family friend.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
It was his first tweet that he deleted and edited.
And he didn't say it either. He didn't say, "Oh, Dylan Raiola is committed to Georgia." He just said, I think it was like, "Holy crap!" Like UGA, wow, or something.
It's like a scarier UGA or something like that.
Yeah, it was something like that with the eyes emoji, and then well, of course, everyone can like take the one step and figure out what that means. But
Especially when he had a version history of it, so people found it and it said most talented player at the positions in Stafford, and it's like, all right, well now we all know. Who
Okay,
Like,
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And maybe it's part of the hype, but that was my Blursed. It's not too big, not too bad. It's a great news for the dogs. Like I'm super pumped for this. Overall,
are we gonna do a dogs football segment or are we gonna leave this?
That's it.
Okay, here.
That's probably all we need to talk about, right?
Yeah, I don't think anything else needs.
As far as like what this means for quarterback at UGA, my thought is that Raiola will probably be sitting 1 year behind Beck unless Beck like goes off, wins the Heisman, and decides to go into the draft, which I mean, he looks good. I don't know if he's that good. It could happen. I don't know. Joe Burrow kind of did this out of nowhere too.
Stetson would do what Stetson did. Yeah. So I think we can't say
Carson's actually got some pedigree of like being a like recruit.
Yeah, he was an actual recruit.
Yeah.
Plus his arm. Yeah. He has a way better arm than Stetson.
Oh, the spring game, he looked great. I know.
The national championship, he played almost as much as Stetson did in the national championship.
Sure. That's true. It got out of hand pretty quickly.
And he looked really good in the Natty too.
It's crazy. Is Carson Beck and Brock Vandegrift both have 3 years of eligibility left? Both of them. So
he's a redshirt junior. Okay.
Yeah. Because coming in the 2022 season, they both had 4 years of eligibility. So, I mean, for me, I think this makes it obvious.
They get a COVID season, too. That's what it is.
Yeah. And so I think Brock Vandegrift probably definitely transfers. But it really depends on how Carson Beck does this year. If Carson Beck has a bad year, Dylan could come in and compete for the job right in next spring. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Carson's going to play well, and I think the Dogs go back to the playoffs. But
who's the backup this year? Is it Vandegrift probably? Or Gunnar Stockton?
No, I mean, I think that one. So Kirby, of course, will say it's a 3-way competition for the starter all the way up until kickoff in September.
Yeah. Lord,
but
he may still stay after the first game.
Yeah, we all know it's Carson Beck's job, especially at the spring game.
Has to be.
Yeah. I will say the actual competition, I think, will be between Stockton and Vandegrift for the backup. I think that one may not actually get decided until fall.
Yeah. They looked extremely similar in the spring game. Like, as far as I couldn't tell which one was in.
Yeah. Same.
Very similar skill set.
And we all know a backup quarterback at UGA is going to play. They're going to go get some play time.
They will, especially now.
Yeah, with this schedule.
Yeah.
They're in this economy.
In this economy.
So what's your?
So I'll go to my Blursed of the week, and it is of course on theme. It is Atlanta United. The Blursed part is that we've lost 4 games in a row. If you go back to the embarrassing loss to the Memphis 901 in the U.S. Open Cup, and then 3 straight MLS losses after that. The good part, or the not bad part, is that because of the phenomenal start to the season we remarkably still find ourselves at 4th in the Eastern Conference. I don't know how.
It's close, but yeah, we're still 4th.
Now to Blake's point of what he just said, we are in 4th. Yes.
Teams 6 through 12 are all 3 points behind us.
3 points separate us from 12th place. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a win is 3 points, right?
Yep.
And for instance, and let's also add on top of that, the team in 12th just beat us 3-1 2 days ago.
Not a good look. Not a good look. Our goal differential is 0 now. So it started off like super positive, and it's down to 0.
They might just be the Hawks this year. They might just, they got 21 goals for, 21 against. So they might just keep that going.
Hey, I mean,
if they do,
they can make playoffs potentially.
Yeah, soccer is weird. They might make the playoffs because if you look, I'm still looking at the standings here. Montreal, who's in 7th place, they're the last playoff spot outside of the play-in game. Because now soccer has a play-in game of the 8th and 9th seed.
I like the play-in game.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I like more sport is what I like. But anyway,
when is the actual playoff? Like not
say it again.
Like when's the actual playoffs? Like not the U.S. Cup or whatever. Like the real league tournament.
It's I think because
in the fall, right?
Yeah, it's such a long season and it's made even longer summer because they're doing that middle of the season summer tournament with the Mexican league.
Oh, I forgot they're doing that this year too.
Yeah, and that's gonna take a month. So I think the playoffs won't actually start until like September.
Man, soccer can be so confusing. It's like
it is crazy.
All the different leagues and cups, and like I've played FIFA for 10 years now, and I still don't understand it.
It's a lot.
Yeah, so with that, we got a month break in the middle of the summer, and we still have 23 games left to play. outside of that month break.
Yeah, our last game is the 21st.
Not after it. Not after it, but
October 21st is our last regular season game.
Oh my God.
Yeah, October.
So even
21st.
Later than I thought.
Yeah.
Can't even talk about baseball.
Because don't they have a summer transfer window?
Jeez.
Like,
yeah. What'd you say?
Don't they have like a summer transfer window, or am I making that up? Is that
just
Premier League?
So the month of July. So there's it's 2 transfer windows, and that's the cool part of
midway through July.
It's such
a
August.
World. I see.
It's a world sport, so the transfer windows are for all the leagues.
That's right. Okay. Yep.
Or
and all the worlds.
I guess technically true. Like if Mars had their own league, they'd fall into this transfer window too. But
if not, they're not going to get good players. So
yeah, exactly right. So so the month of July and the month of August are a transfer window. So there's a 2-month window, the biggest window, July and August, and then the month of January is also a transfer window. So
cool.
Soccer,
baby,
love it. All right, my Blursed of the week. I'm going to go with Max Fried and Kyle Wright, both being put on the IL, like almost consecutive days this past week.
Yeah.
So Max Fried with the forearm tightness, which can be a precursor to Tommy John, which he has had Tommy John once before. People recovered from it more quickly now, but apparently they just shut him down. He's going to start throwing again in about a month, and then he'll try to make the road back and make sure nothing is hurt further. Kyle Wright is having the same shoulder issue that he had coming out of spring training, which is why he missed the beginning of the year. So you're asking yourself that, why is this blessed at all? It seems pretty cursed. The blessed side is that I'd rather have this be going on in the first 2 months of the season. We can recover from this. Even if we don't win the division, as long as you make the playoffs, there's a chance, and especially if you're at full health.
Yep.
So I'd rather this be happening now. And also it's building depth. Like more of these young guys are going to have to come up and pitch like considerable innings. And sometimes I feel like, especially with like Kyle Wright's development, he was sent up and down so many times, like as part of the process or whatever, that it kind of stunted his development as a pitcher, and it took him longer to get settled in at the major league level. And so now, maybe Dylan Dodd or Jared Chewsday gets more time, and you've seen Bryce Elder settle in since he's been able to be up consistently.
Yeah.
He has like a top 5 ERA in baseball, which is nuts. Nobody thought that coming into the year.
Right.
But that's the Braves doing Brave stuff.
Don't forget, Daddy Soroka could also come back.
Could be the Soroka show. So we'll have to wait and see.
This is the window he needed. The opening he needed was something like this. I don't know if he'll come back, but it is wide open.
So Hayden, why don't we use this Braves talk, spin right into a little Braves segment here?
Braves.
Because I'd like to start it by posing a question that you and I already talked about via text the other day. But
let me answer that question with a question.
Okay.
Oh no, go.
Well, what's
I don't
the
have
question?
it yet. Yeah.
All right. So, all right. So I texted you the other day. And I think it'd be great for us to talk about here is that what happened to us last year in the playoffs with winning the division and having the bye, and we had like what did it end up being? It was like 10 days off or a week off or something like that. It was a while, right?
Yeah.
And the Phillies did not have that time off, and they were hot. They kept playing baseball. They continued, and they kind of steamrolled us in our playoff matchup. And so the Braves looking as good as they do now, even with the 4-game streak. I mean, I don't think any of us are really bothered by that. And so, especially given the injuries, but it's looking like, and I don't want to call anything. I'm not calling anything here, but I am saying that if this continues, the Braves will win well over 100 games, like just mathematically, again, not calling it. The Braves will win well over 100 games, and they'll win the division, which sets us up in the same scenario, whether it's the Phillies or somebody else. You'll be coming into having over a week of rest and a hot team coming in to face you. How do you get around that as the team with the bye?
So I think there's a couple of things. Last year was kind of an anomaly, I think. It was a comedy of errors. Max Fried having the flu right as the season the season ended. He lost 15 pounds between starts. That's how sick he was. So like that doesn't help. Spencer Strider, it was also like that was his first start coming off an injury, and you know, his first full season, and then you know the bats just went cold. And I think that's probably the most consistent thing you would see of teams that have that bye of a week and not seeing live pitching, or like at least game live pitching. They probably see some live BP, but yeah, I think, you know, thank God we won the World Series the year prior. I think that Philly series would have just killed me. We had the World Series title to fall back on, and they didn't win the World Series either. So it's kind of,
that does feel good.
It feels great. But yeah, I mean, I think it's an experience thing too. So now we've been through it. We kind of know what to expect.
Good point.
And you know, the team that won the World Series last year, the Astros, they didn't have a problem with it. They were the top seed coming out of the American League.
I think,
and they were able to go through it just fine.
Something else too is that the Astros didn't have to deal with that we did was competing with the Mets all the way to the last game almost. Like that wears you out as a team, chasing the whole season, chasing every game you have to win because you want to win the division. And then after you won the division, it was like, we did it. You know what I mean? Like, not saying it should have been that way, but I felt like in part of their minds it was like that. And it's like, all right, we got past the Mets. We should be okay against the Phillies or whoever else we're going to play.
I completely agree. Yeah, it was felt like that was the real challenge of the year, was to win the division. And unfortunately, it kind of drained the guys. And once we reached that goal and then had a reset, it wasn't like the same intensity, and it just didn't pick up how it should have. But I'm hoping that, like, with a little bit more experience this year, I am hoping that it's not as much of as a competition for the division. I think we have like maybe a 4-game lead. We're at 5 still. So yeah, the rest of the division has been pretty bad so far this year. Surprisingly, we're one of the stronger divisions in baseball. We'll have to see like how the pitching issue plays out, because AA had a quote today, because everybody's asking him, like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Are we going to trade for a pitcher? And his response was that this early in the season, teams aren't really looking to sell yet any pieces that we would really want. Because I mean, AA, this is what he does every year. He waits till close to the deadline. He finds a team that probably should have been in the race but isn't, and he's trying to find guys that have 1 to 2 years left on their contract, so that way we can pull them in, give them a long-term contract, and lock them up for cheap before they hit free agency, or cheaper.
Right.
And so that's the technique, but teams aren't looking to do that this early in the year, and even teams that aren't going to be competitive yet, or like this is like a bridge gap year to them being competitive. They are still wanting to vet the guys that they have on their team currently, and they want to make sure what they have in house
know before
is
they
good
sell.
or bad, or going to work for them in their window, or like whatever picture that they think they're going to be competitive. They want to make sure that they hold on to the right guys and the right pieces. And that's where these teams can get in trouble, like the Rockies or the A's, is like when they hand off the wrong piece, or if they just decide not to sell the piece at all, because then these players end up going to free agency. The Rockies do this repeatedly over and over again.
They lost Arnado.
Yes.
Right?
Arenado.
Arenado.
And then who was their shortstop last year?
Trevor Story.
Yes, Trevor Story. Same thing. He was in the last year of his deal. They couldn't get a deal done. They could have traded him at the deadline. They didn't. They just sat on it, and then he just left in free agency to get nothing in return. And that's why these teams remain poverty franchises.
And wouldn't you also say you've got teams like, I'd use for an example the Pirates right now. Yep. Pirates were just awful last year. They could be awful again this year, but they're weirdly 3 games over 500 and second in the NL Central. Sure. So that team may not be as willing to sell, especially right now.
Oh yeah.
As you would think from a team like the Pirates.
Yeah, it's weird looking at like around baseball right now. Most teams in their last 10 games are either 5-5, 6-4, or 4-6. The only exceptions are the Rangers, who are 7-3. And the Dodgers are 8-2. That's it. There's a lot of parity right now in baseball. Right. If you look at the divisions, it's the same way. Like even in our own division, Phillies are 20-20, Marlins are 20-21, Mets are 20-21. Like very close right there.
Sure.
A division I'd keep an eye on for like maybe a place where we could pursue a trade is the AL East. They're all above 500 right now, but not all of them can make the playoffs. So some of them are going to have to sell. Like they have to. Like that's the issue.
Yeah.
They're all the Red Sox are in last place in their division, and they're 22-19. Like they would be second place in most other divisions.
when we played them last week, were coming off like an 8-game win streak or something like that too.
Wow. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
So one thing, I'd like to stay in the NL Central and pick out a team that Hayden was that would be an example perhaps of what Hayden was just talking about with what AA looks for at the deadline. The Cardinals. The Cardinals are in dead last. I didn't even realize that until I looked at the
They've become a laughingstock
record
of baseball.
Yeah.
In a month. It's incredible.
16-25, dead last in their division, 7.5 games back. And that's with winning 6 out of their last 10.
Yeah.
So,
oh my God.
Yeah, so the Cardinals could be a team that AA rings up in a couple months. Like, hey, you guys thought this. Turns out you're not that. Why don't we snag somebody?
I like that. Another team too, I think that's worth looking at are the White Sox. Spent a ton of money in free agency, bringing in pitchers, bringing in all these things, and they're so bad. They are actually, I have it right here, 14-28 on the season. 14-28.
That's incredible. Like the past 5 years, they've were like been favorites to like come out of the AL and like go to the World Series, and they just have not been able to put it together.
And they got some pitchers I would like Mike Clevenger. I know he's a little past his prime, but I'll go for him. Dylan Cease, I think is his name.
Dylan Cease.
What about
no way
Cease?
they give him up. He's too young and too good.
Like he's our best player, but like maybe I don't know if we would have enough to get him.
I mean,
Lance
unless they go
Lynn,
full
another
rebuild.
guy.
Yeah, he's a
Lance
veteran
Lynn hasn't
guy.
been good this year though. He's struggling with the play clock though, and it showed. I actually saw this on TikTok. It shows that heavier set pitchers are struggling the most, which kind of makes sense with the play clock right now. They're a lot of their ERAs are like up 1 to 2 points higher than last season. So
it's become more of a cardio thing, I think, because like even like if I'm sitting watching the game, I'm like, oh shit, there's the next pitch, and my heart rate's up. I'm like, what? Why am I feel tired? Like I need to remember to breathe while I'm watching the games, I guess. But maybe do a little cardio. But yeah, it's interesting, and some people are starting to tie the pitch clock to like more starting pitching injuries. So they think that could be related.
Go so quick.
Yeah, maybe so. I'm not sure, but it'll be interesting.
I mean, they're
to
gonna
see
look
the
at
data
all
on
this
that
stuff
after a couple of years.
And they may change it, like lower back some a little bit, or like because I feel like the sweet spot. What are they at? 2 hours and 45 minutes right now.
Yeah,
it's like what or 2:36 or it's somewhere around that. I feel like the sweet spot's between that 2.5, 3 hour window. Like I don't think anyone would complain for 3 hours. It's the 3.5 hour, 4 hour games that were killing people.
Yeah.
So
well, they want people to watch at home, and it's super good for people that are watching.
It's easier
on TV.
to watch at home now. Yeah,
it's not as good for people that are at the stadium. So what they need to do, they need to open up or keep the stadium open later after the game, like they do. They typically do that on weekends, Friday nights, etc. Yeah. And then they need to every game. They need to open up the stadium to like increase their concession sales. Like just let people watch BP every game. It used to be like that.
Open early. Yeah,
and now it's like there's specific games that you can come watch BP. Open up every game because I would fucking love that.
Why they don't do that?
I don't know. I really feel like that used to be a thing. You used to come in early, watch BP, especially if you have like these superstars come in. Like you used to be able to go watch Barry Bonds, like just hit bombs at Turner Field. That's awesome. I mean, who doesn't want to watch that? So I think that's something that could help with the like in-person experience.
Absolutely. One last team that I would like to look at too at the trade deadline is the Angels. Go after like Detmers, like that pitcher. He just has a cannon of an arm, or you know what I mean. Like
let's just go get Shohei.
Yeah,
why not?
Let's go get him.
Package deal.
I did that in the show, by the way. I couldn't help myself. It's too fun to play.
What we have to give up for getting like Grissom, Schuster, Dylan Dodd. Like you'd have to give up so much to get him. I don't even know if they would.
It's not really realistic because he's a free agent after the season. So if you give up like a bunch of players for him, then you have to make sure you could sign him to a long-term deal.
Right.
Like it's going to be 10 years.
He's almost impossible to trade,
maybe more. Which is great. Yeah. He's impossible to value as well. Because if you really value him as your like best hitter and best pitcher on your team, then he's worth over $600 million over a 10-year period, which is incredible. Yeah. Like it's impossible to value that because it's never happened before.
Contract.
He'll sign probably a $500 million contract. He'll probably sign a $500 million contract,
if not more. I think
if not more.
Said,
I mean, I know in fantasy baseball, it was like this. We did an auction draft, and his price was so weird because as a hitter, you would be willing to bet like $50 on him. But as a pitcher, you'd be willing to bet $36 on him. So do you bid 86 on him? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
how high do you go? And there goes a lot of your budget.
Yeah, if he gets hurt, then you're really fucked because then you're like you just put all your eggs in that basket. But I mean, he's an incredible player. I love the tweets or the updates. Is like Mike Trout went 2 for 4 with 2 home runs. Shohei Ohtani pitched 8 scoreless innings, had a home run and 2 doubles. The Angels lost 4-0, or like I don't know, like 6-3, or like I don't know,
6-3, and
it's incredible.
Shohei only gave like 2 runs through 8, and then they gave up 4 runs in the 9th. Yeah.
God, would you guys say, based off what we just talked about, that perhaps Shohei is so good that if you give him a fair valuation, or even close to fair, he's priced himself out of ever being on a good team?
The Mets, the Dodgers.
I don't think so. Like
Yankees.
I don't think baseball works like that necessarily, because there's not a cap.
Yeah,
there's like, especially like the Mets, like they don't. The reason that there's tiers of like the luxury tax is because of Steve Cohen.
Because the Mets,
and because he's a billionaire, like a multi-billionaire, and so they put that in place thinking that would restrict his spending a little bit and make it even. And by God, he doesn't give a shit. Like, he's so rich, it doesn't matter. And they didn't ramp it up enough for it to be level. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see it.
So for perspective, their
That's
payroll,
a good point, though. Yeah, compared.
Their payroll's $50 million
other sports
higher than the second place. They're at $330 million, and the Yankees are at $279 million.
Jeez.
What are the and just by comparison, I'm gonna look up the Rays real quick. Do you have the Rays right there?
Yeah, I have it right here. So the Rays are actually in 28th out of 30.
Oh my God,
they've gone up a little bit,
and they are at $74 million.
Oh, there it is.
And they're first place by a country mile right now. Yeah,
dude, that's incredible how they do that.
And they have a bunch of young guys who are just competing, and they do this every 10 years. I feel like we've talked about it on the podcast before.
They're the new A's.
They've been the A's though since like the early 2000s. Because don't they have a World Series this year? Or in the
no,
they went to the World.
They've never won.
That's right.
They lost to the
Dodgers,
Phillies,
I think, right?
Phillies. That's right.
Phillies years ago in the 2010s, and then a couple years ago they lost to the Dodgers.
Yeah,
crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
but yeah. So props to the Rays, man.
What's funny is seeing the Mets at first on this list and the Phillies at 4th, and they're both behind us, and they're both behind the Marlins too, and the Marlins are 22nd. Well, the
Mets are having a hard time with keeping their pitching healthy as well. You know, they
have a bunch of old guys.
They paid a lot of money to Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer, who are both in their upper 30s. So, I mean, that's a choice. We have one pitcher like that, but we also have a stable of young guys that we don't have to worry about that as much. So, and then the Phils, they're kind of finding their stroke a little bit. Bryce Harper's back. And
Harper's back, dude.
He's the heart and soul,
dude. What the heck?
Dude, God damn. He recovered from Tommy John in like 3 or 4 months, and he's back and he's hitting home runs.
He's a DH. He's just a DH, but he's killing it. He's only been playing for like a couple of weeks, and he's already like, I think, the #1 DH in fantasy baseball right now already. And it's like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, he's a freak, man. He really is. I'm jealous.
Speaking of fantasy
on him.
and baseball.
I wanted to, well, but before we get there, let me ask you this about, just to continue the Bryce Harper talk. I don't think it's happened yet, or if it has, I missed it. But I'm hearing a lot of talk about Bryce Harper working out at first base.
He
after
that was actually mentioned, like, to keep him healthy and keep him on the field. The transition from outfield to infield is pretty difficult. You don't typically see that. You don't want to get closer to the ball as you age.
Right, that makes sense.
You start prioritizing your lifespan a little bit more. Maybe not having brain
Is it the
injury.
arm now? You don't want to throw it?
Yeah, because the first baseman never throws almost. So
rarely.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
I think he's competitive. He wants to be on the field.
Right.
Why can't you just DH every game?
Well, I think what Hayden said, he wants to play defense. He wants to be affecting
like
the game.
He wants to affect the game.
I see
what you're saying.
Being a DH,
he's a competitor.
It takes you out of the game a bit. It really does. It doesn't feel like you're part of the team.
Right.
I mean, like, you're not. It doesn't feel like you're contributing like the full amount that you want to.
I mean, he may change his mind after doing.
You see that with Sean Murphy. Like, Sean Murphy's stats when he's catching are like astronomically better than when he's DHing.
That makes sense.
Like,
you're in more of a rhythm because
I
don't know about y'all, but just like, I mean, hell, you don't even have to talk professional sports. Just going out and playing like backyard ball, going to the rec, playing, pick up basketball or something. if you play well on defense, the boost in confidence that can give you oftentimes translates to offense.
Yeah.
And of course, you see that the most in professional athletes. And so, to that point, Sean Murphy guns out a guy at second. That's going to give him more juice at the plate or something, I mean,
yeah.
In 10 games, he's batting .333, which is way higher than any of his averages. So that should come down. And he has 11 runs in 10 games already. And then he has Bryce Harper.
Okay.
Only 5 RBI though, but I don't know where he's batting in their lineup. I think Baum, their third baseman, is getting a lot of their RBIs right now.
Would he not be fourth?
He might be leading off.
Oh, okay.
They got Trey Turner too. I don't know.
He's been bombing this year though, like in a bad way.
In a bad way, yeah. So speaking of Trey Turner, I had a trade. I made a fantasy baseball trade today, a big one. So I traded for Trey Turner, Hunter Green, who's a starting pitcher for the Reds, and Kyle Tucker. I traded away Aaron Judge, Yoshida, and Matt McClain, who's a shortstop for the Cincinnati Reds that just got called up today. I feel like I won the trade. I know I moved Judge.
Does, yeah.
I know, but I got Kyle Tucker. Well, so for my team too, just so y'all know, it's like one of those categories. I'm trying to win strikeouts, and Judge strikes out a ton. And I know Trey Turner does too. So my question to y'all would be, do I try to flip Trey Turner? Because I've got a lot of offers for him already since I've gotten him. But part of me feels like he could turn around, and like he's a great player. Like I just feel like I should keep him.
Everybody's talking about how he struggled so much to start the year, and it feels like you bought him at a low point, which is good.
Right, because I got Kyle Tucker and Trey Turner in a trade for Judge. Like I feel like that's really good.
I would sit on him for a couple of weeks. I mean, that's what all baseball is, right? It's like, do your bad streaks outweigh the good streaks, or do the good outweigh the bad? And so that's like what we're seeing with Austin Riley right now. It's what we saw with Marcell Ozuna early this year. That was a hell of a bad streak, but he's been good the last 2 weeks. So like,
that's crazy.
Now he just has to continue that for another 3 weeks, and he'll get back up over 200. But yeah, so I mean, I think you've got him at a good spot. And then what?
I just wanted to jump in real quick. I looked at the Phillies lineup for today. Bryce is hitting third.
Where's Baum? Is he fourth?
Weirdly enough, he's seventh.
He's getting a ton of RBIs too. It's crazy. I don't know.
Well, yeah, he's facing a lefty. I don't know.
Something else too. I was reading. Ozzy Albies as a switch hitter. Some people are saying he should stop switch hitting because it's not working. Like people have figured out how to pitch against him when he switches, and he's like just getting out almost every. What do you feel about that? Like, is it worth him just never switching?
It comes up every year, and so like. It's just a streakiness thing. Sometimes you can be good from one side and not the other. And then it's also a comfort thing. So like if he just decided one day, he's like, you know what, I'm just going to stay righty versus righty, which sometimes he does versus really slow throwing right-handed pitching.
Yeah.
But it changes like your perspective and like how you're viewing the pitch coming to you. Which that can affect how he plays as well. So, I mean, maybe you see that, but I'd say it'd be pretty unlikely.
Okay. I was wondering. I didn't realize that came up every year either.
He hits for weight. It's because like you don't play against that many left-handed pitchers like compared to like it's like 25% of the time. So when he comes up, hits righty and like he hits better, then it's like, oh, why is he not doing this all the time? But I mean, he just has more pop right-handed.
Yeah. I mean, there's clear. Yeah, I think it's clear he
has 2 home runs this year from the right side. Yeah.
But I mean, he's playing extremely well either way. He's back slugging he's back to being like silver slugger level, which
he's batting 259.
That's exactly what we fucking said coming into the year when like ESPN's top 10 second baseman
he was left off the list.
He wasn't on the list. I was like, that's preposterous and
doesn't make sense.
That's Atlanta sports right there.
He's slugging 506 right now. He's the second highest on the team. No, third highest on the team because Acuna
that's a team. That's quite a team to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's ahead of Olsen, who's at 500 slugging. But Murphy's 571 and Acuna's 577. Just crazy.
Oh, and they've
crazy
been
slugging percentages. Yeah. Something else I want to mention before we move on from the Braves is that last year we started slow and we talked about that as a kind of a thing we had to overcome over the year. This year starting off so hot, but still facing all these injuries, but also facing like I would say like lulls in some of our players' performances, still has me like really hopeful for the future of the team. Like I feel like Michael Harris is going to do better than he's batting 217 right now, but he's coming back from injury. Olsen has been striking out a ton. He's leading the league right now in strikeouts, but he has 32 walks, which is like only 4 behind Juan Soto for he's second most in the league in walks. So I know he's striking out a lot, but he's still getting on base. Austin Riley's struggling a little bit at the plate, but he struggled last year too, and he started coming back around this time. So I don't know. I'm not as long as Acuna's batting the way he is, I'm not worried.
Acuna's the constant, and if he stays healthy, he's average.
And he wasn't last year.
Like he's hitting damn near 400, and like he's already stolen like 17 bases. He's hit 8 home runs.
17.
Like he's on pace for like a 40-40 season, which is incredible.
Yeah.
He's our best player. There's no doubt about it. And anybody that has a problem with that needs to get over it because we have a bargain player. Yes, he's on his way to an MVP if he stays healthy.
MVP, I was gonna say he's a runaway MVP. Yeah.
And so like he's our constant. Everybody else is going to go through ebbs and flows, but it's about like not the majority of your players going through bad times at the same time, that's what it's felt like. So like Spencer Strider had a really good
Kevin
start. Kevin Pillar's been good too, but like
Healer's been good. Like you've had people step up.
Yeah, you do. And like the lineup needs to play better with these pitching issues and injuries we're dealing with. Like when Strider only gives up 2 runs over 7 or 8 innings or something like that, we got to win that game. And the bullpen has to step up too. Iglesias has struggled coming off the IL a little bit. We've cooled as a team, unfortunately. So they need to find it and settle in for the season. But, you know, at the end of the day, like Snit's got his hands tied a little bit in some of these games. So both of the bullpen games we have been in that we played in the past week, and like Dylan Lee pitched really well starting, and then McHugh has pitched fine.
Minter's having a meltdown.
But then you're limited as to like what you can do with your relievers at the end of the game. So like you don't have as many options, and then our guys that are supposed to be tying up the end of the game have struggled. So they need to find it, and like I think you just have to give them the leash to find it, because like what else are you going to do? We're locked in, and those are the guys that we have to have perform.
Snit had some choice words after the series this weekend. He said, "You're not going to win a series playing like that, period." He goes, "We were lucky to even be in the game yesterday." Like he was pretty upset about the way the Braves have been playing. So
hey,
every time he gets upset, it always leads to a turnaround for us, I feel like. So
we have been a bit streaky this year for sure.
I do too.
Because also with the Snit comments, I want him to say more of those things more often, or when it's deserved, because something that had irked me about Snit in the past was just his whole laissez-faire, happy-go-lucky attitude of like, oh, that's baseball, and just not that he sounds like that, but but in my head he sounds like that. But but so when he actually drops the hammer like that, or to him that's dropping the hammer, I suppose, but I don't know, it just feels good. It feels like it also might mean more when the players hear that.
He did it last year too, right? And then we turned it around, or like the year before. I remember it was like a big deal.
It was last year. It was right when we called Michael Harris up and Strider started like starting games instead of being out of the bullpen. And then like he was like, this is unacceptable. Essentially, we like lost to the Diamondbacks, and they were like the worst team in baseball, which they are actually pretty good this year too.
Yeah, they are.
But yeah, so I don't know. Snit knows what he's doing. He's got some limited pieces right now, so it'll be interesting what we do from a starting pitching perspective over the next couple of weeks before we get to the trade deadline.
Absolutely.
But yeah, maybe we see Soroka. He has struggled, unfortunately, since
those first 2 good games.
Yeah, so he had a couple of good games to start the year, but like he's given up a ton of runs, like 6+ runs the last couple starts, I think, in AAA, which doesn't time out well for him because Max Fried and Kyle Wright just got hurt. So it seems like it's probably going to be Dodd and Chewsday that are going up and down. But even Smith Shaver, I think, I can't remember his name. He's in AA right now, but he played well in spring training. He's been pitching well, so we might see him get like a quick call up to AAA here soon.
I'd rather see Soroka just come up though, just even if it's one game over like another bullpen session. I'm gonna be honest, like personally, I would rather see that and just see what he's got. And unless they think it would kill his confidence, but I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they want to be sure when he comes back that he's back. I don't.
Right.
But I think because it might affect his confidence more if he makes it back and then is like sent up and down because he's been there. He's been an all-star pitcher. Right. So like, I don't know. I that's what it seems like to me, or else he would have been back already before these other guys. But I don't know. It's hard to say unless you're in the belly of the beast itself. But that's my take.
No, for sure.
All I want to say is this. Now, this will be for us as far as by the time folks listen to this game will have already happened. I didn't realize we were playing the Rangers tonight.
Yeah,
I guess we're starting a series with them.
They're a good team.
Exact same record as us, 25-15.
Wow.
First place in the AL West. And so I'm excited to see that. It comes on at 8 tonight. And I just want to point out the fact that me, as a renewed baseball fan or baseball enthusiast now, over the past couple years, I can't recall the last time that I went through the first portion of a baseball season that we're in here, where I was actually excited and planned my evenings around watching just normal Monday, throughout the middle of the week baseball. And the Braves have provided a reason to get excited about that.
Absolutely. Something cool about the Rangers. I mean, I don't know if it's cool. It might not be to some people, but they're a perfect example of like, you know what? Let's just throw money at some players and get them to come here and see if we can start winning games. And it's worked for them.
Who was it they got?
They got Marcus Semien. They went and got.
Yeah, but there was somebody else they got.
Corey Seager.
No, they got Corey Seager, Jacob DeGrom with the two big ones. Corey Seager's a huge name too, but there's someone else too. They went and got. Is Evaldi? They got him from Boston, right?
Yeah, he's okay.
John Gray. I mean, they just went and picked up a bunch of players from all over. Like, if you go to their Google page and like look at their team, most of the players are wearing hats from other teams.
So they timed it out pretty well because they had a new stadium that got built. It's essentially like the same as the Battery over there.
Nice.
I actually was over there a couple years ago, outside of Dallas, to see a Cowboys game, and it was still under construction, but like the Valley, or like not Valley, like the Battery area was open already. So like there's a huge bar and all these people in there. So it's set up very similar to that. So usually like when a team builds a stadium like that, they try to time up their window with it. So that way they're good when they open and start selling tickets and boost the economy, so to say. It's good for all of us. It's good for the economy.
So let me ask y'all this. I'm looking to who's on the mound this evening. We got old Charlie Morton out there.
He's been playing well.
But he has. But they're starting a guy named Cody Bradford that I've never heard of, and he has no statistics this season.
They might have just called him up.
He just got called up.
Yeah, they probably just called him up.
Interesting.
Yeah, playing fantasy baseball this year,
it's tough lineup to come up against.
I was about to say, this bodes well.
It could. Yeah, it should, honestly.
They're like, you know what? Fuck this kid. Let's throw him to the Wolves.
Yeah.
All right, son, you're playing the Atlanta goddamn Braves, okay? Come on in.
Good luck, son.
Boy.
Brutal.
Yeah.
What's that, what's his name? Oh, God, I can't think of his name. What's the baseball movie, Trouble with the Curve?
Yeah. Trouble with the Curve with Clint.
Are they scouts for the Braves in that one?
Yeah, did you see that on TikTok today?
Yeah, I've been watching that stuff, catching back up to it. I think I forgot how good that movie was.
It's a pretty old movie now.
It is. No, it is.
I mean, it's no Moneyball. But
no, it's no Moneyball. I agree with that.
It's okay.
Hey, you know what? Just a real quick thing here. Something that's happened for all our lives, and it's absurd to me that they still keep doing it. But when you search something on Google, it'll tell you a approximate of how many results it brought up, and then in parentheses it tells you how quickly it brought it up. So I typed in Texas Rangers, and it says about 61.4 million results in 0.99 seconds. Like, come on, Google. You guys have been an institution for 20 years, 30 years now, all right? Stop bragging.
Stop bragging.
You really are a boomer, man. You still use Google, not Chat GPT?
Oh, my God. That's an AI, okay, first of all.
It does the same stuff.
Well, kind of, except for Google's search algorithm can't talk back to me.
That's true.
Well, I mean, it can tell me how quickly it got me things, but that's it. Right?
That's where I want to stop it right there.
I don't have an issue with Chat GPT talking back to me because it's in the written form. Now, if Alexa, sorry if that set off anybody's Alexa device, if she starts talking to me out of nowhere and then it pisses my dogs off, then it pisses me off because it disrupts my day. And then, I'm quite upset at that point.
Like, was it when you guys lived with Dylan and Gray and them that someone was saying that the next door neighbors complained because y'all were having a party and Dylan was playing like some of his Metallica, like heavy metal music, and someone kept trying to change it and they were just going, Alexa! and they were just
trying to yell
over the music. And so it was something like they put a note on your door that was like, please stop yelling at your Alexa to change the song or something like that.
Yeah, if you don't know Dylan, he loves the heaviest, loudest music you can listen to. So
I just remember that story.
That house was awesome. I had like speakers built into it, so you could just play stuff through an entertainment system that went throughout the whole house. So I'm sure our neighbors hated it.
Is that your like townhouse?
It's a townhouse, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
little townhouse. Shared walls are tough.
Yeah, Mr. Classic City.
Yeah, Alexa.
Well, shoot fire. Anything else on the Braves you guys want to talk about? You want to?
No, we're talking more about the Braves than I thought we would.
There you go.
I mean, they are in season right now. Atlanta United's essentially not. I think they stopped playing.
Well, the cool part about the Braves is that as much as we've been stumbling, we still have the largest lead in baseball over anyone, over a division. So
that is cool.
Pretty cool.
It's impressive.
Where we going?
Yeah, where do we? Yeah, because I'll be honest with you, I don't really know where else to go. We could go Dogs. We could go Hawks.
Let's go. We could throw in UGA basketball real quick, just like a little short little blurb.
How about them dogs?
How about them indeed? So yeah, Mike White. Just quick little segment on him. Blake, do you have the name of the
White
dudes
Lotus.
that he got?
Yeah, I got you. I'm about to. Anyways, Mike White has impressed me so much already.
Same, man. It's insane Florida let him go. I get that our programs and expectations therein are different at Florida and UGA for basketball, but I don't know. They just gave up a known commodity and a good coach because, I don't know, he won 20 games every year and brought you to the NCAA tournament.
What a dick.
I don't know.
How dare him keep you.
Stupid idiot. So,
all right. Oh, I'm a little confused. All right, here we go. So
2 big transfers, I believe. They weren't recruits; they were transfers, which is even cooler.
We've had a couple of transfers actually.
One guy, Blake, tell me which one this one was. I can't remember his name, but we got the Division II National Player of the Year to transfer to UGA. I mean, he was getting, I think he was being courted by like Clemson.
Is that Noah Thomason?
Actually, might be.
I actually don't know. Hold up, this one. Take me a second. Hold up.
But while Blake's looking at that, it's just, I don't know. I just wanted to touch on that because Mike White is taking a very productive first season as head coach and just showing folks that, hey, guess what? You can win basketball games at UGA and you can do it quickly. You don't have to have a long rebuild, especially now with the portal. And he's fully taking advantage of that. And I think that he's the perfect dude for the job because he's got the pedigree of what he did at Louisiana Tech and what most people know what he did at Florida, of course. And weirdly enough, the people that seem to appreciate that the least are the folks at Florida. What are you going to say?
He may be showing us that he can recruit as well as coach, which has been a problem doing both in the past at UGA for some reason. No one else has a problem with that.
Didn't we just get a 5-star or a 4-star recruit, I guess, too? Like, I don't know. He's like what you've been saying. He's done a great job. Not only recruiting, but also getting portals, transfer portal players.
Getting portals open.
He's been playing portal a lot, actually.
Great games.
Yeah. But all the guys he's gotten are 3-star or higher. A couple of them are 4 or 5 stars right on the cusp.
Russell Chewsday, I think, is the dude I was thinking of.
Russell Chewsday. Yeah. He played for USF last year.
Yeah. Okay. So he's not the Division II guy. But what he is a 7 foot, 280-pound big man. And that is something that last season, while we played very well under Mike White, our bigs weren't very big. And so I think it's very clear he noticed that and he was like, all right, I got to fix this. So what does he do? He goes and gets a dude that's almost 300 pounds and is 7 feet tall. That was already a D1 player.
A lot of people have Georgia as one of the biggest transfer portal winners this year. So we got awesome. RJ Shinohara. Power forward, average 18.9 points, 40% 3-point percentage at Nova Southeastern D2. So that's the player you're talking about.
So that's the guy. All right, yeah.
We got Noah Thomason, 19.5 points, 3.5 assists. He's from Nigeria. Center Russell Chichua, who you're just talking about. Power forward Jalen Deloach, average 9.7 points and 6.9 rebounds from VCU. I mean, it's always great to go get a VCU player.
Oh, yeah.
So we've had 5 big transfers in, and then we've had a handful of high recruits commit. So I would say UGA is already way further ahead than we were last year, and any year,
absolutely.
Honestly, in the last like 10 years, recruiting wise.
Yeah.
Besides Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, to Hayden's point, as far as not being able to string together recruiting and X's and O's, Tom Crean, our most recent head coach before Mike White, he could recruit dog shit at X's and O's. And then you go before that, Mark Fox. I loved Mark Fox. I still do like Mark Fox.
Yeah, I like Mark Fox.
And Mark Fox couldn't really recruit, but damn, he was a good X's and O's coach. And he won 20 games several times at UGA and rose them to the level of expectations where we wanted to be, and then was a victim of his own success because he couldn't recruit.
Absolutely.
So,
it's tough. I don't know how you can't recruit to Athens. Like,
yeah,
dude, Georgia Tech
fucking sells itself. You just have to get them to show up and then be like, oh, wow, okay.
Well, like,
I could live
get
here.
on 316, drive to Atlanta, go to any high school there. Okay.
Yes.
I don't get it.
The talent's there. I mean, shoot, my landlord or property manager at the place I stay, his son's getting recruited right now to colleges, and it's like a bunch of colleges out of the state that are all D1 colleges, like LSU. Wow. Like, it's like, why are the dogs not going after him? Why are Georgia Tech not going after local players? It just doesn't make much sense to me.
Well, you know who else who let some in-state players go? It was Mark Richt. Right at the end of his tenure, he let Deshaun Watson get out of the state, which
he let Cam Newton go.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember the
story.
Trevor Lawrence too.
Trevor
Lawrence. The Cam Newton one to me is the most egregious, only because of how it went down. Not that Cam's better than the other two guys, but that
collegiately,
I mean, in college,
he's right up there with him. Yeah,
but that he want, he was from Westlake. He wanted to come to UGA. He verbally committed to UGA. And Mark Richt told him he wanted him to play tight end.
Oh, my God. So racist.
Yeah. He wanted him to play tight end. And as far as I understand, Mike Bobo wanted him to play quarterback. But Mark Richt was like, no, I see more of a tight end in him. And, of course, Cam Newton was like, fuck that. No, I would like to play quarterback, please. So he goes to Florida and then Auburn, and the rest is history.
Anytime Mark Richt was in charge of our offense, it was so bad. It was so bad.
Think of how that would have changed the course of UGA's. Like,
Mark Richt probably didn't get fired.
He would have won a national title with Cam Newton, undoubtedly.
Yeah, because Cam Newton won a national title with a much less talented Auburn team.
And a worse coach, probably.
Yes.
Oh, definitely a worse coach. That dude got fired 2 years after that national championship.
Yeah, and then they brought back was it Gene Chiswick the guy got fired?
That's who it was.
And then they brought back Gus Malzahn, who was the offensive coordinator during that time, and he got fired like 4 years later after that. So
Gus was the only. Gus and Cam were the only reasons that team was good.
Good,
I mean,
yes.
Gene Chiswick.
I think Nick Fairley was the only other player you could probably name on that team, and maybe Emory Hunt maybe played for. I don't even know. Don't even know.
I really like these type of questions that are like kind of butterfly effect hypotheticals.
Like
what would have happened. So like if Cam Newton goes to UGA, we might win one with Mark Richt, but then Mark Richt stays longer past when Kirby Smart is looking to go to a school and he may have gone somewhere else.
Good point.
He maybe he goes to Florida and fucks us for 30 years. So, it's worked out well.
The only thing I'd say to that, Hayden, in opposition is just that Kirby being a UGA grad
wanted to come here.
There's a chance he might just have stayed as the DC for longer.
That's true.
At Alabama. Yeah, I don't know. But
Alabama
but still, great point. I mean, it's just I don't know. It is wild, those butterfly effects. All right, where do we want to go next though?
Let's hop.
Oh, we're rattling through these.
Yeah, let's rattle through the Hawks real quick. There's not too much we can talk about for the end of their season, just because it's been over.
Let it drop, you dick.
God. Can you not sense that by now?
Sheesh. Blake.
Oh my. Yes, honey, I'm coming.
Yes.
Anyways, the Hawks. I wanted to recap a little bit on the season because this would make Kai's happy. Guess who are in the conference finals, guys? All four of the bubble teams. All four of the teams that played in the finals during the bubble are all back.
I don't know why that is a talking point right now. It's like I think that the fact that this is a talking point 3 years later proves how right I was back then. That the bubble was a sham.
I think that's why it is a talking point though, because people are like, look, these teams 3 years later are back. Like,
is that soon enough?
That's my point.
Is it soon enough?
No, that's my point. Is that it took 3 years to get back.
Well, a lot of these.
These are completely different players for the most part.
Well,
these are different
Jokic
teams.
is still in Denver. LeBron and AD are still in Lakers. Tatum and Brown are still in Boston.
They were
Jimmy Butler is still
the
at the Heat. It's all the same people.
Why don't we talk about how the Lakers Heat in the play-in? Is that right?
Yes, and then the Heat, like we said, this man? On the podcast. Seed, we literally said this so many times.
All the way to the ECF, yeah.
If we would have lost to the Heat, we would have had a better matchup in the first and second round of playoffs, and the Heat proved it. They went out and beat. I think the Hawks could beat both those teams. We were better than Cleveland all year, and I'm not scared of the Knicks. They're awful. No. So still bothers me.
Right.
What?
Well, I was just gonna say. Why don't we? What I hate is that people are now 3 years later bringing up, oh, the bubble teams are back. Okay, yeah, they're still in the league. And then also, why did we, or why are we now hearing about the bubble? Why are we bringing it back up now? And we didn't hear about it when after the bubble, the Lakers missed the playoffs completely.
Well, I think it's because Anthony Davis was hurt, right? Didn't he miss almost a whole season after the bubble?
Saying Anthony Davis was hurt does not narrow down anything that's ever happened in his entire career. He's almost always hurt.
Yeah, but him healthy, they won a championship. Him healthy again, they may win another championship. I just want to ask y'all.
You guys want to win?
Well, I want to ask y'all.
I don't want.
I want Lakers
particular team.
I want Lakers Boston, and I want to see the Lakers win. To be honest, I'm rooting for LeBron. I'm a huge LeBron fan. If you don't already know this, so I'd love to see LeBron win another ring. I like Jimmy Buckets too. I just don't
love Jimmy Butler.
He's also a huge UGA fan out of nowhere. I don't know why. I can't figure it out. But
that's so funny.
He's into it.
Is he from Georgia? I don't know where he's from.
I'll check that.
But yeah, that TikTok. I think we're all talking about the same one. Yeah, that blew up. Where he was watching the Georgia game.
Ohio State.
He's from Texas.
Yeah, that's what it was. He's from Texas. So
I don't know what his tie is, but I'll take the support. Yeah.
I'll take him. Yeah. Come and play for the Hawks. I'd love to have him here.
It could be a reverse of all the things that used to piss me off as a kid when people were like, "Oh, I'm a Texas fan, but I grew up in Gainesville, Georgia, and it's because that my uncles, cousins, nieces, grandfather went to Texas." It could be something like that. I don't know.
And I'm really proud that they won that national championship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I was going to ask y'all, who do you think will win? We talked about this in the beginning of the year that it's so funny we said this, that in the history of the NBA, there's never been a team outside the top three who ever won the finals.
Oh, yeah.
And now you have two teams in the West in both finals who could go to the finals could be the 7th seed versus the 8th seed, which is crazy.
And the fact that in the West, this previous round was a 6 versus 7.
On top of that, which one of them was obviously the championship team from last year.
They're the Warriors, so it's kind of a cheap.
And the funny part too is both the Warriors and the Lakers at the trade deadline were both, I think, out of the playoffs. The Lakers were the 13th seed during the trade deadline, and they finished at the 7th. So
just turn it on.
LeBron was like, "Get all these fuckers out of my team, please."
Yeah, well, they got rid of Westbrook.
They got rid of Russell, and they've been so good.
Why do you guys think that there's more balance now in the NBA? Do you think it's the superstars are aging out faster than superstars are coming into the league? Because guys like Zion hasn't really lived up to the expectation
the whole time.
I think to that the younger superstars aren't carrying as much as the older superstars, and they're getting outplayed.
Those younger superstars have yet to do the super team ups that this past generation did for the
That's
past
true. They're spread out. Yeah.
Years.
So yeah,
they're spread out.
These teams are trying. They're just not making it to the champ. That's the problem. Is I think we're past the point of the big threes. I think we're past that. I think now they're starting to notice you need 2 studs and then role players. Boston, that's what they are. They're 2 studs with a bunch of role players.
There's different ways to do. There's multiple ways to skin the cat.
The Nuggets are the same way. They're 2 studs and a bunch of role players.
But see, in the NBA, there's no other sport that has the players have as much say on team construction
for sure
as they do here. Not only by virtue of them being less players and teams being smaller, but also just based off the fact that one player makes the most difference in this sport than any other sport in the entire world.
Yep. LeBron's a perfect example of that.
Exactly. So that means that, maybe the teams have figured out that you don't need 3 superstars to win something, but to have the players, and maybe figured out it's not the right word so much as it would be they just want to. Yeah. You know what I mean? I want to team up with my boys and go to Miami. Wouldn't it be cool if we all played in South Beach or wherever?
I think too. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think you can have two guys on the same tier like that now. But the third guy, nobody wants to be the third fiddle. Nobody wants to be Chris Bosh. Even though he had some big moments, you don't want to be the Chris Bosh. If he was on his own team, during that entire period, he would have been like more well known and more well regarded and more awards.
You're exactly on the right track in that when LeBron's first big three, Chris Bosh didn't complain.
He did all the dirty work.
He did all the dirty work, and he did it well, and they won 2 championships because of it. But then the next big three, when he goes to Cleveland, that tanked Kevin Love's career. Kevin Love came from Minnesota, where he was the guy the whole time there. He broke the record for most consecutive double-doubles with it was like 80-something games in a row. It was like over a season, I think. And then he comes there, and just by virtue of how an offense works, he was the third fiddle, and it clearly affected him both mentally and in his play. And I think to Hayden, and
people came for him too, especially the media.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think everyone saw that and was like, maybe we don't want a big three because I don't want to be the three.
Yeah, he also struggled with injuries too, which sucked. Like I remember they lost that first year in the playoffs, or was it the second year? I can't remember. No, it was the second year when they were playing the Warriors with KD, and they lost because of LeBron, because Kyrie was out and Kevin Love was out. So it was like just LeBron and J.R. Smith.
That was when J.R. Smith.
J.R. Smith cost them a game, and I swear if Cavs win that first game, I think it changes the whole series. But
Hayden,
he didn't know the score.
That was the night before we went to New Orleans for your birthday or for your bachelor party. By the way.
Shit. When
J.R. Smith did that,
you're aging us. You're aging us, my friend.
No, people don't know how long you've been married. That could have been
coming up on 5 years.
Now they know. Well, now they know.
Yeah, that's true.
I will say this too. Like you saw the Timberwolves this offseason make that huge trade for Rudy Gobert, got them the 8th seed, which I mean, hindsight, that was an awful trade for them. But I don't know. I think really what you saw was the best. I mean, LeBron still, like, even if he's not contributing the most of every player, he's still one of the best players in the world. And come playoffs, he's the guy I want on my team. Like, that's who I want.
Well, after doing it for 20 years or 18 years,
this is 20th year.
It's 20. Holy shit.
He's been in the NBA for more of his life than he's done anything else.
So LeBron is doing what I do in franchise mode on the show. It's like the first couple years that I'm in there, I'm playing like damn near every game. And then I get the team rolling, and then I simulate the entire season just to get back to the playoffs. Like, make sure I'm going to make the playoffs, and I start playing just the playoffs. That's what he's doing, except he's doing it in real life because he knows he can coast or not even play a lot of games in the regular season. And the only thing that matters to his legacy at this point is more titles because he's done everything else.
Yep, absolutely. Here's the thing, too. A lot of people are saying, like...
Also, I think... Sorry, Blake, I just want to... The only thing he wants, I think, also, or the second thing, would be he's clearly hanging on so Bronny can get in the league and he
wants to play with his son.
I think he's going to play one season with whatever team drafts Bronny.
You know what's funny is it's kind of lining up that I think people are talking about like there's a chance that Cleveland could be that team for some reason. But the cool part is Bronny's playing in USC, which is like right there by LA, so they're going to be with each other a lot.
Wouldn't it be so funny if LeBron, given how much control he has over any team he's on, what if for the first time ever he was like, all right, folks,
trade me?
No, not that. What if he stays with the Lakers and he was like, all right, guys, different plan this year.
We're tanking.
Instead of turning it on right before the playoffs, we're going to tank right now.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
well, his son won't be the first pick either.
Players.
So all he has to do is be like, AD, I need you to be hurt right now. And then like, I'm also hurt right now.
Absolutely.
And then like, they just like, all right, let's go to Costa Rica, or I don't know.
Let's
go get on a boat for a bit. Yeah.
So I'll say in these two matchups, we have the Lakers, I think, win if AD can contain Jokic. It's a huge task though, because Jokic has been playing out of his mind. And I think Boston beats the Heat just because they don't have enough offense to win.
Did you see that clip of Jamal Murray talking about when Gobert was guarding? I think it was Gobert, right? Because didn't he play? Yeah. So it was a.
Oh, he said, "I got him," and he said,
"Yeah." It was like, No, it was like Jamal. Yeah, I think they were going to double team him or something like that. And Jamal Murray said that Rudy looked over him and he was like, no, I got him. And he said, as soon as he said that, Jokic had the ball and he was just like, brother, I have 47.
Yeah, right. That was it. Yeah.
Like Like, really? You got me? I have 47. Like, come on, man.
I wanted to bring up Jokic too, because if you don't know, Embiid was announced the MVP of the season this last week. And I just want to point out, like, I think I'm at the point now in my life where I used to always be like, no, the MVP, all that stuff should be regular season. All should be regular season. I'm over it now. I like playoffs are when it matters the most. That's when the stars should play the best.
But then why not do it at the end of the playoffs?
That's what I'm saying. They should do that now. Like I am at the point now where I don't want them to pick the MVP until the end of the playoffs. And it can be someone based on the regular season. I'm fine with that. But like, look what Jokic has done this playoffs and compared to what Embiid's done. Jokic has averaged 30.7 points, 12.8 rebounds, and 9.7 assists. He's almost averaging a triple double with 30 points a game in these playoffs.
I agree. And I think Jokic should have won his third straight. However, I think I would still like it to be in most sports regular season only award.
Yeah.
Only because what's the award called? The most valuable player. Right?
Yeah.
Not best player on good team. It's most valuable player. So what if Jokic played for the Kings? Or no, sorry. That's usually a good example for what I'm trying to say.
But they're good this year. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
What if Jokic played for someone terrible and he just had an even better year and they gave it to someone else because they weren't in the playoffs?
That's fair. I mean, it's already a weird award to me in general, though, because like LeBron, why does he not win it? Like he should have won. Like, 6 straight years.
Technically, it should be LeBron for the 20th year in a row.
Yeah, right.
That's happening in every sport now too, because like Shohei should win every year, no matter what. It shouldn't even be a conversation, but it breaks the award. So like, what do you do there? So
I need a best player award and the MVP award. I need both of those.
I think you could if we want to get literal with it, I think they should take a tip from how college football kind of does it. And it's that we talked about it on the pod last season when Stetson was in the Heisman watch, and it was that
crazy.
Wait, is Hayden muted?
Yes.
Okay, or you were? Yeah. All right, cool. I just didn't want to make sure my audio wasn't weird. Anyway, the Maxwell Award versus the Heisman Award. I believe the Heisman says most valuable player and the Maxwell says most outstanding player. I think if you were to change the definition to that for all the awards, then it makes sense.
I'd be okay with it because I feel like it's fair. Like I feel like every year, like LeBron for a lot of those Cavs teams should have been the MVP. He's taking March Hummers to like the
Would you rather be the MVP or the mop?
I think it's the mop. I think what we're doing is the mop, whether we're calling it that or not, because like what you said, it should. Yeah. LeBron should be winning his 20th straight MVP, and he's not. Yeah. And why is that? And that's because we actually give it to the most outstanding player, not the most valuable one.
That's true, and I think that's fair. I think you're 100% right on that. But here's my thing too: is I was like, if you take Embiid off the 76ers, they probably still finish a top 5 seed. Like they got James Harden, Maxey, Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, like.
Since I hate all Philadelphia teams, I think now's a great time to talk about that stat you put up in the Twitter earlier today, Blake, which I believe
trust the process, baby.
I can't bring up the exact numbers. Could you get that?
I got it. Yep. So since the 76ers started their trust the process rebuild in 2013, 2014, the amount of teams that have made the Eastern Conference Finals are as follows. The Celtics have made it 5 times. The Heat have made it 4 of those times. The Cavs have made it 4 times. The Raptors have made it twice. The Hawks have made it twice. The Bucks have made it twice. The Pacers have made it once, and the 76ers have made it 0 times.
Oh my god!
That was a rebuild Hawks too. Like one at the beginning and one at the end of the rebuild.
Yes.
The Hawks literally went through
a rebuild. Cycles. We went through a rebuild. I mean, the Cavs went 4 times.
So funny.
LeBron was one of them, left and came. You know what I mean? Like,
LeBron left and came back.
Yeah, like LeBron's the Heat and the Cavs on this list. Like he's 2 of them. Like
it's so funny to me.
I don't know. It's bad. And like I feel like the Hawks are part of the reason the process broke with the breaking of Ben Simmons. Like that was the beginning of the end for them.
Ben Simmons was a huge part of that.
Oh,
because he was the second one drafted in the trust the process, right? They got Embiid first, and then they got Simmons.
I believe,
or maybe like at least close, maybe not back to back, but maybe not back to back years, but close.
Is it Doc Rivers? Is their coach?
Yeah, he's gonna get fired probably too.
Dude, how does he keep getting hired? He won a championship with the Celtics when they did the first ever Big 3, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And like he's done nothing.
Nothing.
It's been 15 years, literally 15 years since then.
Would you say Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman were a Big 3?
Yes, but so
It's
I think
different.
I'll go ahead and say, that wasn't constructed in the same way. The modern big three came together through free agency and trades.
Yeah.
Whereas, I don't know. I feel like Jordan looked at that team and was like, you know what? I might need to go back to basketball, get a couple more rings. I'll Pippen and Rodman there. He's like, I gotta come back.
These guys went to the Eastern
They're making the finals without me. If I'm on that team, we win.
That is a good point. That people miss is that in those 2 years where he was playing baseball, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, and he comes back and wins.
So funny to me.
I actually didn't know that.
People talk like he won 6 straight. It was like he won 3 and then won 3.
I mean, he did win 6 straight. He did, not the Bulls.
Except he got suspended for 2 years under the table for gambling.
But
I do like your analysis of
some say it's because his father died or was murdered. But anyway,
go on. Some say Michael
potentially
Jordan
also connected with gambling.
Hayden,
conspiracy theory
podcast. Yes. Okay. All right.
I actually know nothing about this. I'm just spouting bullshit out. But I like your analysis of like a big three working now is having that third guy be gritty and like take care of everything else that the first two scores don't. And that's why the Warriors are so effective because Draymond Green, that's what he is, and he loves being that. Yeah, and it works really well.
He's what John Collins I would love to be, but John Collins just isn't that. Like that's like
nobody wants to be that, really, right? Right. Everybody wants to be the top 2 guys, one of the scorers. Yeah. You get more famous, you get more endorsements.
Right. But see, Draymond's marketing himself though. He's doing a great job marketing himself as that third, like because no one considers him a third wheel. They don't win those championships without him. So like. I don't know. I do think there's a good point to that though. One last thing before we leave the NBA. Oh yeah.
Speaking of Draymond, greatest second round pick ever.
Yeah, I think so.
In NBA, I mean.
Yeah.
When was Jokic?
Insane.
He may have been second round as well, actually, sir.
Really?
Yeah, he actually might be. Nikola Jokic draft pick. Let's see. Round 2, pick 41.
Holy shit.
Jokic is actually
all right. Well,
that's incredible.
Okay.
But I mean, it depends how you measure it. Are you measuring rings or are you measuring player stats?
No, you're right. I didn't know that. I thought he was a first
only
rounder,
reason
like
I knew that is
first rounder.
Yeah. Only reason I knew that's because I was trying to like copium the Hawks always trading away their second round picks. And I was like, there's not been that many good ones. Yeah. And then I looked, I was like,
it is. No, I mean, a lot of times the second round draft pick doesn't even make the team.
Right. Yeah. True. But you see a lot of these teams that have all this nice depth. Sometimes it comes from those second round players being on cheap contracts contributing. So one last thing before we move off the NBA, Ja Morant. What the hell, man? Like NBA, they cut him the biggest break. They cut him the biggest break and only gave him a 6-game suspension. And they told him he served most of it while he was gone. He goes to a retreat, what's not a retreat, but what's the rehab kind of thing for it?
Yeah.
And they meet. He makes a deal with Adam Silver saying like, no, I won't do this. I won't do that. And then what does he do after they get embarrassed in the playoffs against the team they were talking smack against the whole season? He goes out in an Instagram live. He pulls out a gun again. Like what's going on?
It literally played out like a Chappelle Show skit. Like no joke. His friend is recording. They're singing the song. His friend does the finger guns. All right. When they mention a gun in the song, and he pans over to John. John's just like got it out right there. He's like,
it wasn't out to begin with.
Oh,
God. He pulls it out.
Yeah, he pulls it out before. Yeah, right.
What
exactly.
It is
so
hilarious
funny.
too because like all social media, all NBA social media is pushing him to be like something special, and like when he's really putting up almost the exact same numbers or worse than Trey.
Trey puts up better numbers than him.
It's infuriating because like players like that, they get pushed to the forefront because of like the NBA's agenda. So it's hilarious when that falls apart. And you see the same thing in Major League Baseball too, because they do that with Ronald Acuna and Fernando Tatis Jr. And it pisses me the fuck off that Tatis Jr. has come back this year
a cheater.
Off a suspension. First off, he was injured for an entire year because of 2 different motorcycle accidents. And then he got suspended for using steroids or PEDs to recover from said motorcycle accidents. And the guy's a moron, but then they come back and they push him so hard on social media instead of pushing Ronnie, who's just like, he got hurt playing the game and he's a better player and a better person. But it's like, you don't want to push that player? That's super strange to me.
that's the thing too. Is
point as far as the injuries not being baseball related. That is a fantastic point because it's something that I had actually forgotten until you brought it back up there. And I'd forgotten it because that's not a part of that narrative. They don't talk about it.
And I love John Boy Media. I think like what they do is awesome, and like they give really good detail on baseball if you want further information all around the league. But the amount that their social media team is pushing him is driving me nuts. It really is, because like because I like them, I'm like, why do you guys like this guy so much? It's like, why are you guys jerking this guy off so much? It doesn't make sense to me. It's like you guys are like known to be like they broke the Astros cheating scandal basically.
Wait, they're the ones who did that?
Yeah, that's kind of how they got famous.
I think so.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so I don't know. It's kind of sucks that they're just going
they're
like
also doing that.
They're being basic to me.
Something else that's crazy to me is John Morant. They left him off the NBA all team this year, and I think part of it was because of the gun thing. Prior his first gun thing, but two, if you look back at last year, because I remember we talked about this, guys, because it bothered us. The Grizzlies went 22-4 last year without him. Not this season, but the last season without him when he was injured. They went 22-4 without him last season.
They are a good team,
and he still got second team NBA All NBA when he missed 26 games. And Trey got third team. And he had better numbers.
Stop trying to make Ja happen. Stop trying to make it happen. You're forcing it.
He's gonna get 50 game suspension pretty easy here.
Well, It's reminiscent of Gilbert Arenas, right? Yes. Kind of a similar tiered player that was having a good career, and then like what was it? He almost shot a guy in the clubhouse. Or
Javaris Critton and him
it's
got
weird.
into it in the clubhouse, and he pulled out a gun.
As weird as Gilbert was talking about this recently, and the way he reflects on it is that they gave him a mental break, a 50-game mental break, and it's like that's not what happened. You weren't getting. It might have been mental. Like
that's a good pivot though. That's like
that is a good pivot.
But that's the difference between that is Jaws just on public Instagram pulling out. I know some news sources are like, oh, well, this is maybe an old video. And it's like, no, that song dropped Friday. Like the song is playing in the
new song.
Friday. This obviously just happened.
It was on live too. It was literally Instagram live. I don't think there's a way to fake that really.
No. And he's also countersuing the kid that alleged that he punched on some court.
Look.
It's all bad.
Let that go. Let it go.
Dude, you got to settle that out outside the public eye.
Yes.
It's so not good. So anyways, I don't know what's going to happen with Ja. I think he's going to get hit pretty hard, probably a 50-game suspension. But man, it's just, as a Trey fan, it makes me happy to see his demise a little bit in the public eye, because I feel like I just feel like Trey gets a lot of hate that he doesn't deserve. Like,
thing is though, as far as it making you happy on the Trey thing, is it shouldn't, in regards, not that I'm not on your side, because I am, but it shouldn't, because of exactly what Hayden just said. The NBA is going to do exactly what MLB just got done doing with Fernando Tatis, as far as coming back from a suspension.
Do you think they can keep pushing him?
Yes, I do.
After the gun?
Yes.
See, I think the Grizzlies themselves are about to implode a little bit, like especially after this year. So I think you're going to see a shakeup regardless from that team. Like I think Jaren Jackson Jr. might be on his way out, which he's one of their best players. Like he defense player of the year this year caliber. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. If he gets a 50-game suspension, though, that Grizzlies team is going to look a lot different.
Oh, it's going to be like 2 weeks before Ja comes back from suspension, and like the NBA is going to tweet out a video of him working out. It's going to be like minor setback, major comeback, and like shit like that. Oh my God. I can see it now, and it makes me sick.
I'm going to be upset about that. So I have a question for y'all. We could go into Falcons next, but we could save it for next. Like we're in a slow season for the Falcons. We could do win-loss percentage next week and kind of hit it harder, because we won't have much to talk about NBA wise next week.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Just because we spent more times than we thought we were going to do on the Braves, so we could do a similar thing with the Falcons next week.
We'll leave we'll go a little bit bigger into the Falcons, because I really would like to talk about. There's a lot of win-loss projections already, and I'd like to get into what our win-loss projections are. So give us a week to think about it. Listeners, you think about it too. Maybe if you want to comment on this video, your projection, we'll go over it in the next episode. But yeah, we'll do that, and we'll also look at what other people have been saying about the Falcons win-loss. But that'll be for next week. Did you want to talk any about soccer?
Atlanta United are frauds. Gonzalo Pineda needs to get fired.
I mean, I think it's what we said.
I'm back where I was last year with him.
I think it's what we said 2 weeks ago too. they are who we thought they would be in the sense of we're as good as our parts. And if the players aren't playing where we need them to be, we're not going to win. And then what sucks is we have one of the probably the highest paid rosters in MLS. We should be
highest.
Yeah. So it's unexcusable what's happening. And our
consecutive years.
Our new president, he already came out and said we got to make changes. He goes, when your team's playing like this,
he did say that because of the resources we have here in Atlanta, because someone kind of brought up the whole. I will say it was a good little spin from Garth in that they asked him a payroll question. Hey, why are you guys struggling? You have the highest payroll in the league. We should be the Yankees. We should be the Mets.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we are the Mets.
Okay, sorry.
Almost exactly.
Be the Yankees. We should be the Dodgers. All right, but yes,
the Dodgers
you're right.
Better,
You're right, though, Hayden. But anyway, why is that not happening? And he kind of gave a non-answer and then pivoted into, due to our resources, he said, I am not just hoping, I'm expecting to get at least 3 players in July, as far as 3 new players in the transfer window. He said that. And it's only time will tell.
Is that going to make a difference? I feel like we've been through this 3 times.
I mean, I think if it doesn't make a difference, you're going to. I mean, the coach has only been here for this is his second season, right?
Full season,
second full season. So, like, I mean, I think they'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but Garth's going to have a short leash with him just because there is that past relationship with him.
Yeah, exactly.
So the expectation would be like, oh, you're just giving him a longer leash because you're friends with him, and like he can't have that. I trust Garth. I mean, Seattle is good for years. I think this is a great hire by us. Gigi came out after this last game and said, I don't blame the fans if they don't want to come sit down because we're not giving them something to watch. And I was like, wow, like
I have really loved Gigi. No, Joseph wouldn't have said that. I love Gigi. It is a shame that he has been a little banged up and he hasn't been there the past. That is certainly a part of it. It's felt like outside of Balmata, we've had no goal scoring threat because he's been gone. But I'd like to take that opportunity that you bring him up and talk about another thing that puzzles me as far as decision making with Gonzalo Pineda. So he's dealing with an injury.
Yeah.
Gigi, I mean, not Pineda, as far as I know. And he put, so we're down 3-0 in the 75th minute. You're going to lose this game. Okay. That's happening. You're going to lose this game, right? What does he do? He subs on GG.
Hurt Gigi?
Yeah. What do you think he's going to do, Gonzalo? You think he's going to score a hat trick or a glut and we win this thing in 15 minutes?
If that was going to happen, you should have done it at the 45-minute mark.
Exactly. Thank you. The only thing that's going to happen here is either A, nothing, or B, I should say the only 2 things that are going to happen is nothing or he fucking gets hurt again. Absolutely. So, like, what? And guess what happens when your main goal scorer gets hurt again? You keep losing.
Yep.
So, I don't know. It's just puzzling decisions over and over. Because if you go back before that one, he starts Machop Chol 2 games at striker, which is super cool because that's a position he's literally never played in professional soccer. The man's a midfielder, a holding midfielder at that, one that doesn't necessarily press forward. And it's like Gonzalo was using the mindset of a 12-year-old playing Madden. And that someone, back then I remember being like, oh, why don't I just put this cornerback with a 99 speed at running back? It'd probably be good at that.
Yeah.
And it works on Madden because he is fast. But it's like Gonzalo thought that. It's like, oh, you know what? Machop's, he's kind of fast. He plays soccer. Why don't I put him at striker? It's like I can't.
That's exactly how I play FIFA, so I can't say anything.
Right. Yeah, no, but the thing is, we're not playing FIFA here. We're playing MLS professional soccer.
What's also bothered me is that, especially when you compare him to our most successful time as a team, is that Tata was never afraid to shake up not only the lineup, but the formation. Pineda sticks with the same formation every game. It's like, bro, we're not manufacturing goals, and we're giving up a lot of goals, so it's not working.
It's easier to game plan too if you do the same thing over and over.
Yes, it's easier. Oh, Lenny and I struggles at this, and this, and they're not changing anything up. Let's just keep doing this, and this. Yeah. Like that's bothered me a lot, and he did it last year too. And I know that's something we were frustrated with. We thought he would be a little more flexible this year with the lineup because of the players he has, and he hasn't done it. So,
also, you know what? Let me just throw this out as far as things that I'm upset with. His sideline attire. Have you guys seen it? What is he doing?
No,
he wears a button down tucked into blue jeans with a fucking trench coat. Is that a look? And I just didn't know.
It's probably a Seattle thing.
Maybe it's a
It
Seattle
has to be
thing.
a Northwestern thing.
The broadcast actually made fun of him this past game because they were in Atlanta and they had the dome open and it's like 90 degrees outside. And yeah, I'm sure it's not 90 degrees down there at field level, but the dome's still open, so it's not as climate controlled.
Yeah.
And I think they zoomed in on the sideline, and I can't remember exactly what one of the announcers said, but one of the announcers was like, "Yeah, that's it's not trench coat weather here in Atlanta today." So, and so I don't know.
Is he recently divorced? Because that has like recently divorced rich guy written all over it.
Yeah. He looks like fucking Inspector Gadget. No joke. Like a Hispanic Inspector Gadget.
Hell of a movie.
That's pretty funny.
So I don't know, and that's, if that was my biggest complaint about him, then we'd be doing great, but it's not. So,
but it's not.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's my little rant. I know I said I didn't want to talk much soccer, but you know me when I get
glad you got that off your chest. Though. I think you needed to. I think you needed it.
I'm not sure it's off, but
it's getting there.
Yeah.
I have a couple fun facts to end the episode. If y'all would like some fun facts.
Who is it and how tall are they?
So in the professional sport of hockey, NHL, it's a fun fact about hockey. This year, a couple fun facts, because us in Atlanta don't keep up with hockey as much probably we would if we had a team. The Bruins set a record this year. Puck. That's true too. The Bruins set a record this year for the most wins in the season with 65 wins, but they actually lost in the first round of playoffs.
They got bounced.
They were up 3-1. They got reverse swept after being up 3-1, and they lost. Funny enough, to the Florida Panthers, who were the worst seed coming into it. And the Florida Panthers are now I think they just made it to the conference finals now. So they have made it to the conference finals of the 4th seed. And I believe they play the Hurricanes.
Hockey is something else big in Florida, by the way. Like it's a
big deal. Yeah. Weird. I mean, they have great teams. The Lightning. Yeah. I mean, the Lightning have won 3 Stanley Cups in like the last 5 years, something like that. I think 3.
I think you're seeing in Florida their reaction to hockey what happened here with soccer.
Oh,
they go crazy about it.
Yeah.
Tampa's low-key a very good sports town. People don't acknowledge it.
It is. Oh, absolutely. It's kind of like Atlanta, I feel like, in some ways. Yeah. Probably more low-key than Atlanta, too. So
I would say deserve further off the radar.
They deserve a little more. And they're more successful than us, too, which just hurts. Like in every sport, really. They got more Super Bowls than us. Maybe not World Series, because they haven't won one, like you said.
No, definitely not.
But they have more Super Bowls. They don't
have a soccer.
They have a hockey team.
So so we got them beat there.
Do we want a hockey team though? Do we want our shows to be 2 hours long? We're gonna have to bring in a 4th person that actually understands
we're gonna
hockey.
have to have multiple episodes. There'll be a football, baseball, basketball episode, and there'll be a soccer, hockey, college show. Or
finding someone from Atlanta that actually understands hockey would be a task. I don't know.
I know some people.
You don't.
I
playing
do.
it. If you know, I'll take it upon myself that if we get a hockey team, I will buy NHL, the video game. I'll start playing it so I can learn it. Yeah,
there you go.
Honestly, it's a great way to do it.
Last time, so me and Brady and I think a few of Hayden, you might have been on it too. We would buy some old NHL games and play those when y'all lived in Athens. But anyway,
maybe,
or maybe a little after that. I don't know. But anyway,
I know Brady would.
Yeah, but me and Brady, I remember doing it, and I don't know a ton about it now, but I learned how their offside rule works, and man, is it weird.
What about icing?
Yeah,
icing, it's all weird.
Still have no clue what icing means.
I played a hockey video game probably like 1997 or something like that, which low tech, but like every time I press a button on the controller, and this is like N64, there's two buttons. It would be icing every single time. And like I didn't even play the game. I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, what are you supposed to do in this game? It's ridiculous.
Another thing I don't get is with hockey, this makes 3 different sports now that I know of that all have an offside rule and each one of them is insanely different.
More confusing than the next.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
American football is a very, very complicated sport with all the rules and penalties. And I'd say it's the most complicated in the world. However, it has the simplest offside rule.
That's fair. It's true.
You're across this line when the ball happens. That one's pretty straightforward. You'd think the simpler sport in soccer, that their offside rule would not be as complicated as it is, but It fucking is. I mean, it's not complicated in that it takes a lot of words to explain.
Yeah.
But take someone that doesn't know that much about soccer and let them watch an offside.
What the hell is that? They scored a goal.
Why is that offside? Yeah, exactly.
Why is that goal taken back? I don't understand.
And then hockey, it actually has to do with two lines that are always on that don't move. That's the other thing. In American football.
Because soccer's, yeah.
Well, in soccer, it moves with the defenders, and then in American football, it moves with the ball. But then in hockey, it's painted onto the damn rink, like what the offside is. So anyway.
My other fun fact about hockey was that this year, because the what are they called? Maple Leafs were eliminated from the playoffs. This year marks the 30th straight year that a Canadian team will not lift the Stanley Cup. 30 years. 30 straight years a Canadian team. And the crazy part, Maple Leafs and there's another Canadian team. The Canucks. Two of the teams are Vancouver. Two of the original 6 teams are. So it's crazy. It's been 30 years. And this had a question I want. Maybe this is my question for you, Kais, and this could be a question we talk about at the end. Like the NHL and like MLS and also like the NBA, you have Canadian teams in their professional sports. Do you think we ever see a time that they expand a Mexican team into the MLS? Like, could you see that?
They have their own league, right?
They do. That's such a tough question,
but they could also still be part of the MLS.
Popular,
right? It is.
Their league is a lot older than the MLS.
It had to be a new team. It had to be
very popular. Yeah, I don't know. That's a very good question because I don't know how. I guess like I'm sure that Mexico or another country will eventually get an NFL team.
Yes,
and I think
Mexico seems like the one.
And to me, I think that works because they, if you're a fan of American football in Mexico, you obviously view the NFL as the Shangri-La. It is the goal to get there, right? The reason I'm not sure it would work the other way around for MLS is that I don't know any Mexicans that like live there that watch the teams. But if I had to bet, they view their league as better than the MLS, regardless of whether that's true. And so I'm not sure as far as getting behind to be a fan of an MLS team. I'm not sure they would have much motivation to do that.
Yeah, that's fair. I wonder if there's like a hype to join an American league. I don't know if that would be a thing. I don't know. I really don't. I just wanted to ask you that question.
Because MLB played a series in Mexico City a couple weeks ago. And they hit so many home runs because it's like a much higher altitude, even higher than Denver.
Colorado,
it's like every fly ball was just going out.
Point.
It was
That's
crazy.
Cool.
Pitchers were pissed that their stats were getting fucked up.
That's funny. I didn't think about that.
I think that one thing you could see though, Blake, to your question, maybe in the future this might be more likely.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing MLS or an MLS team that's in Mexico, I think what you might see is the MLS and the Mexican La Liga merge into one league,
and then like a Premier League, and you can relegate
and have a tier system, and have and I'm not saying that MLS would be the second tier and La Liga would be the first tier. No, it would
no. It'd be one new like in a.
But then you'd have a top.
Yeah, the Americas.
Awesome.
It'd be the Americas Conference or something like that.
Yeah, and you'd have a second one. That would be so cool.
That's a great idea.
Because then you'd have in the top.
They should have that in every sport. Oh my god!
You'd have Mexican and American teams just as you would in the bottom.
Right, that'd be cool.
They do it in Blitz the League.
I feel like the problem is.
Yes, I love that.
You have to work your way up through like the terrible leagues, which is awesome. Like just
shout out my favorite player, Bruno Tattaglia. I don't know if you're
the only
linebacker.
The only pushback I would have on that idea, even though I think it's a great idea, is that the money probably MLS. One of these leagues would be like, I'm losing too much money on this. Like, I don't know. They'd have to find the way the revenue split. You know what I mean? Like they'd have to figure that out.
I do.
They find more money in MLS though.
I can put a Google sheet together and we'll figure this thing out.
There we go. We should plan it out for them.
As far as like the world platform, it would gain prestige
for
certainly.
Sure.
Because right now, nobody gives a fuck about the Mexican League or
in Europe,
MLS.
In Europe,
Well, as compared to like the Gulf.
And that's what matters.
But
and that's
all the leagues over there is like Italian League, Premier League.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah,
Spanish League.
But if you merge the two, I mean, that would have to go up in probably the top 5 of the best leagues in the world, right? Maybe top 5.
I mean, I don't know, but only because the MLS is. If you go off rankings and the eye test, The MLS and La Liga, I'd put almost dead even at talent.
Okay, so
which is huge for the MLS because that was
aren't they like around 30 or something now?
But
it's 30 what?
That's
I thought 10.
No, I think both of them are top 15 in the
top
world.
15, yeah. But I'll say this:
top 15 then top 20.
If you add the best teams from both maybe they're top 15 teams, if you add the best teams from those two leagues, that probably would bring your average up to maybe 7th in the world or 6th in the world. You know what I mean? Because you're relegating the bad teams at that point. So, I mean, I feel like there'd be some more world renown for sure. And
so, Hayden, just to jump back to that, Hayden, to your point, I was a little off, but the MLS is currently ranked 15th.
15th. Okay.
But they have Liga MX, which is the Mexican La Liga, at 9th in the world.
So 9th. Wow. Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
What are the top
I feel like
three?
it would almost put us that top 5.
I think you guys could be able to. Well, that might be fun. Why don't we guess what the top 3
EPL.
is? Yeah.
Bundesliga.
What is that?
And then what's the Spanish one called? Barclay.
Did you look it up?
No.
What's the
That's
second
off my
one?
head.
The Bundesliga.
Is that the order?
Yeah, you got it exactly right in order.
What country is the second one?
That's Germany.
Germany.
Okay, geez, I don't speak German. What do you want from me?
Yeah.
You should know Bundes. That's a huge, just anything over there with Bundes.
I will say,
That's like what they call their government now. You can't say Reich anymore, so they had to go Bundes.
Why not?
Bundes.
No?
What happened?
What happened,
folks? Yeah, we'll talk about.
That'll be a Blursed episode within itself.
We got at least 3 Reichs to cover. But yeah, anyway.
Wow. I really do think though, if you merge the leagues,
maybe one more at this point.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good food for thought. I wish in video games you could start doing that stuff. Like you just be like, I'm just gonna merge these leagues and we're gonna.
Well, you can in FIFA now. You can't do that. You can't do that.
Oh, okay.
But I want to temper it.
Can you move teams around?
You can move teams around.
Oh, so you could make your own basically.
You could take Atlanta United and you could put them in the Premier League if you want.
Right. Or you could put the 10 best teams from both leagues in the same league. Or
actually, I think you can only do one team. Weirdly enough, because I think the way it works is like you pick it's like in manager mode.
Yeah.
You can you swap you like I want to be the manager of Atlanta United and I want to put them in.
Yep, that makes sense.
But all right. I think that was Blursed.
I'm gonna call time. Baby. I'm gonna call time. Hour 45 in. Thanks for listening, everybody. Later.
Pitch clock violation.
Before you go, if you enjoyed our episode, please subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, and share with your friends. If you'd like to see these mugs, all of our video podcasts are now available on YouTube, where you can like, comment, and subscribe. For more content, follow at Blursed Sports on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. You can also follow us individually at Blursed Blake, at Blursed Hayden, and at @A_Kais. If you're interested in chatting with us directly, join our new Discord community by typing discord.io/Blursed Sports into your browser. As always, a huge shout out to our music man Oh No for keeping the vibe right and laying down straight slappers every week. You can find his information in the show notes. Thanks again so much for listening, and see you next week.